All right, boys and girls, today we're going to make a landscape. And a landscape is a picture of the outside. And I showed you a PowerPoint before that there are three parts of a landscape. The foreground, which is at the bottom and closest to us. The middle ground that's in the middle, and the background. And we're going to keep those in mind as we're building and making our landscape. So I'm going to find a new page in my sketchbook, and you can have it landscape style for landscape, or you can do portrait. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do portrait style. You can see the beginning of my landscape that I've sketched out already, but I'm going to go over it with you, and I'm going to outline mine with marker. Now you can use marker, you can use pen, you can use colored pencil, but you can also start with pencil too. So I'm going to start in the foreground. The foreground is at the bottom of my page, and I'm going to start by adding layers and layers and layers of lines to make my landscape. So I'm going to start here at the bottom, and all my lines, you'll notice, go from one side to the other. So I'm going to start with my grass. It's going to be the closest to us, and usually the things that are closest to us have the most detail. So I added some little blades of grass. Then I'm going to add a second line right above it. And these landscapes aren't meant to look real. We know it's a landscape, but they're a little bit more abstract than they are real. So now I'm going to add another layer. And then another layer. So I'm just using different kinds of lines. There are lots of different kinds of lines we could use. Here's a list of them that we could use in our landscape. We could use a straight line, a wavy line, a dotted line, a zigzag, a curly line, a bumpy line, a zipper line, and a spiral. Now you could also do any kind of landscape you want. I did like a normal landscape that you find outside, but you could do underwater, you could do an ocean landscape, mountains, whatever you want. So I'm going to add some more layers of land. Now, as I go up the page towards the middle ground, my lines are going to get a little bit closer together, because as things move up the page, they get farther away, so we don't see them as well as we do close up. So I might make my wavy lines a little closer together. And I just keep adding more. Notice I love the wavy line. Really makes it look like there's layers of land right behind. Now I'm going to stop about almost a little bit past midway, and now I'm going to start to focus near the background. So I had my foreground at the bottom, middle ground here in the middle, and these bushes might also be in the middle ground too. So I'm going to go ahead and draw those. So these are still middle ground, even though they're way up high. Okay. And now it's time to focus on the background. Background's usually the farthest away, and usually in the background, the sky is there. But my mountains back here are so far away that I consider them part of the background too. And of course, it wouldn't be a landscape without the sun. Now remember, clouds are closer to us than the sun. So if you're adding clouds to your sky, they always go in front of the sun. Now, if you're doing a night sky, you can do a moon and stars. And there's other things that you can add in the sky besides clouds. You could add snow or rainbow or airplanes or birds. whatever strikes your fancy. Now I'm going to add a few more details to my landscape. I'm going to add some plants. Now I already have grass at the bottom and it's the biggest. So now I'm going to add some more little plants. These might be flowers. They might be plants. Who knows? So I'm just drawing them in any kind of style I want. Remember, we're going for the idea of a landscape. We're not looking for a perfect, replication of it. And then I'm going to add some more plants. But remember, as you go up, your plants are going to get a little bit smaller. And then I'll do them one more time just to really show that they've gotten really teeny tiny. Okay, so now I'm going to erase all of my pencil lines because I'm going to add some more lines. So this time I'm going to add lines inside the layers, and I'm going to use crayon. Now the reason why I like crayon is because crayon is a resist to paint, and I'm actually going to paint my landscape. So I'm going to use paint today, watercolors. If you don't have watercolors at home, it's okay. You can stick with color pencils or crayons. But if you want to paint, break out those paints. So I'm just getting rid of all my underdrawing. It's actually what they call it, under a painting. Get it cleaned off. And now I'm ready to add more lines. Because yes, we're learning about a landscape, but the real meat of this lesson is lines. So we're gonna use our lines again. This time, I'm gonna pick different ones that I haven't used before, and I'm gonna add them to my landscape. And I can use any color I want to. So it really doesn't matter what colors I use. So I'm just gonna add more lines. And this is what's really gonna make it look abstract. So I'm just picking out different colors and I'm making some lines. And I'm making a pattern with them. All right, so I feel like I have enough lines on there. I could add a few more if I want to, but notice I use lots of different colors. And now I'm going to be adding my paints on top. And as I said before, paint will resist the crayon. I'm gonna turn it this way just so you can see how I'm gonna paint. So I'm gonna use watercolors. These are the same watercolors we use in our classroom, so I'll keep those up here. And of course you need a bucket of water and some paintbrushes. So I just let them kind of hang out in the water and I'm gonna start painting over them. So I take my brush, I can start with any color I want to, and I start by priming the color. So I put a little bit of water and then I do a couple little taps. Now if you want to, you can put a scrap paper under your painting. That way, if it leaks, you won't ruin your other pages. Now I like to use a small brush just because it's a small paper. Now if you're not happy with how light or you think it's too light, you can always add more paint on top. So that's what I'm gonna do. So now I'm gonna go through all my layers and add different colors. And there's no right or wrong, so whatever colors you're feeling, that is what you're gonna add. So if you want yours to be more realistic, maybe you'll stick with those colors you find outside, like browns and greens and blues, but I'm gonna add lots of things. So I'm gonna rinse my brush in my water, so I have a nice clean brush, and then I'm gonna pick up a new color. right, boys and girls, there's my landscape all finished. You can see that the crayon did its job and resisted that watercolor. You probably saw me mixing some new colors, but remember to clean your palette and your water. Clean up after yourself. But I hope you had a good time. I know I did. And I'll see you later. Bye, guys.